Revealed how one incredible video call rediscovered my mom's love after 10 years apart. Jamie sat at her small kitchen table, surrounded by crumpled papers filled with Noah's half-finished math problems. The afternoon sun spilled through the window, brightening a space heavy with silence, despair, and the weight of years spent apart from the only person who should have been there all along, her mother. A decade of estrangement loomed like a dark shadow over her heart. Being a nurse, a single mother, and on the pandemic's front lines had taken its toll. Every day felt like a grueling marathon, pushing her way past deadlines, financial worries, and emotional fatigue. She sighed and rubbed her temples, trying to suppress the well of emotions that threatened to overflow. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Mrs. Thompson, her elderly neighbor, holding a plate piled high with freshly baked cookies. "Thought you could use a little pick-me-up," she said, her warm smile igniting a sliver of hope within Jamie. They settled on the porch, the smell of sweet chocolate filling the air, creating a moment of peace from the chaos of Jamie's life. As they shared laughter and stories, Mrs. Thompson mentioned a community program aimed at reconnecting families through virtual calls. Jamie's heart skipped a beat. Could this be the lifeline she needed to reach her mother? That flicker of hope quickly transformed into fear as she recalled the pain of their last conversation. Could she really face the woman who had walked away, leaving Jamie to navigate life alone? But as Noah laughed, oblivious to the tensions that had shaped his mother, Jamie's resolve began to strengthen. Their bond was pure, organic, undiluted by years of silence. This child believed in family, and maybe she could too. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Jamie sat alone with a trembling finger hovering over the call button, an avalanche of memories crashed over her. The tearful nights spent nursing wounds, both physical and emotional, the intense anger, and finally, the loneliness that replaced it. But Noah's bright blue eyes stared back at her, filled with love and innocence. She had to try. When she pressed the button, her heart raced in her chest, each second stretching painfully as the screen flickered to life. Ellen's face appeared, showing the years etched into her once familiar features. Regret clouded her eyes. Jamie felt the air grow thick with unspoken words, an electric tension crackling between them. They began to unravel the fabric of their fractured lives, sharing stories that brought forth vulnerabilities and painful truths. Just as they began to bridge the gap between them, a shocking truth slipped into the conversation, sending a tremor of confusion and dread through Jamie's heart. She stood on the brink of forgiveness, craving reconnection with the woman she loved and resented. The distance between time and pain seemed to shrink, yet the dangers of reopening those wounds loomed large. Would they finally break the cycle, or would their past tear them apart once more? Jamie's heart pounded, suspended in a painful limbo, uncertain of what fate awaited their fragile bond. The silence lingered between them, heavy and suffocating. Jamie watched her mother's expression shift, layers of regret and sadness folding into one another like a complex tapestry. "I never wanted to hurt you, Jamie. You have to believe that," Ellen finally whispered, her voice cracking as if it might shatter along with the tension hanging in the air. "I wanted you here, Mom." Jamie's voice trembled, words slipping out unfiltered. "You left when things got tough. I had to grow up without you." They both felt the weight of those words, infusing the space with pain and raw honesty. Ellen leaned forward, her brow furrowed, searching Jamie's fuming intentions with unyielding sincerity. "I made choices, bad choices. I was young and scared, and I thought leaving was the best thing. I see now how wrong I was. How can you be sorry after all this time?" Jamie challenged, her heart breaking as she watched tears spill down her mother's cheeks. It was a mix of anger and longing, a fire fueled by years of being left behind. "I've lived with that hurt every single day," Ellen replied, wiping her eyes. It's something I can't escape, no matter how far I run. I missed so many milestones. I never got to be there for you when you needed me the most. Jamie's breath caught in her throat. She remembered nights spent crying into her pillow, wishing for a mother's embrace, for the comfort of knowing she was loved. The anger was still there, but somehow it began to merge with empathy. Do you even know who I am anymore? She asked, her voice quieter now, vulnerable. Ellen's gaze softened, a flicker of warmth igniting behind her watery eyes. I know you're a wonderful mother. I see your strength, Jamie. I see you fighting. I can't erase the past, but I want to know you now, the woman you've become. Each heartbeat echoed painfully inside Jamie's chest. Did she want this? Could she stand to let her guard down, when years of hurt had built these impenetrable walls? A part of her ached to wrap her arms around this woman and burst free from the chains of resentment. But fear haunted her. What if this second chance was just another cruel twist of fate? You don't get to decide when you want to be a part of my life, Mom, Jamie said, her voice steady but strained. It's not that simple. You don't just come back after leaving. Ellen stiffened but nodded, understanding the truth in Jamie's words. You're right. I need to earn that right again. But I'm willing to try if you are. Jamie closed her eyes briefly, silencing the storm inside her. She envisioned Noah playing in the yard, laughter ringing out, a new generation building a family of their own. Perhaps, just perhaps, there was a future worth fighting for. But as she opened her eyes, ready to respond, a sudden alert popped up on her screen, a news notification that struck her like lightning. No, not now. She gasped as the words mandatory evacuation blared like a siren, causing her pulse to pound in her ears. Everything felt like it was spiraling out of control again, and this time, the stakes seemed even higher. Would she have to run away before fixing what was so deeply broken? Jamie froze, grappling with the reality that lingered now just outside her door, leaving her desperate and conflicted. What choices would she make as the world started to crumble around her again? Panic gripped Jamie as the screen flashed with alarming news. Her heart raced. The weight of the conversation with her mother faded away under the sudden urgency. Evacuations, the word echoed in her mind. It felt surreal, almost like a scene from a movie. Yet, this was real life. Jamie? Ellen's voice pulled her back from the dizzying thoughts. What is going on? Jamie blinked, trying to refocus. They're saying we have to leave now. Her voice trembled, betraying the storm of emotions brewing within her. There's a wildfire nearby, and they're evacuating the area. Ellen's expression hardened, shifting from regret to alarm. Do you have a plan? What are you going to do? I don't know, Jamie stammered, the weight of her son's safety crashing down on her. She rushed to her phone, glancing at Noah, blissfully unaware of the chaos, still coloring in his sketchbook. I need to get him and pack some essentials, but let me help you, Ellen offered, urgency slicing through her hesitation. What do you need? Clothes? Food? Jamie hesitated, uncertainty swamping her. You want to help? Ellen moved instinctively, gathering items from the small living room. The sight felt strange. Here was the stranger who had left her, now trying to be present in a way she never thought possible. I want to, Ellen insisted, her voice steady, as if reassuring not just Jamie, but herself as well. Whatever it takes. We will get through this together. The moment stirred something deep within Jamie, an ember of trust igniting from the ashes of resentment. It was the first glimmer of hope she had felt in a long time, kindling amidst the flames of anxiety. Okay, she agreed cautiously, her voice muffled by fear. They worked together, grabbing clothes from drawers, stuffing them into bags. Jamie felt a bittersweet mix of emotions surge with each hasty motion: frustration, confusion, and a stubborn flicker of something like gratitude. Every time they bumped shoulders in their frantic packing, it was both grounding and unnerving. Do you have any pictures of Noah? Ellen asked suddenly. Stuffed animals? Something he loves? His favorite bear is under his bed. Jamie rushed to retrieve it and returned to find Ellen organizing snacks and water bottles. For a brief moment, seeing her mother engage and care made Jamie realize that Ellen wasn't just a ghost from her past, but someone trying to be real in her life now. As they wrapped up their hasty packing, Jamie noticed the sirens outside growing louder. Panic surged in her chest. What if they didn't make it? Was she really prepared to leave everything behind once again? Mom, she whispered, gripping the straps of her bag. What if things go wrong? What if I lose everything again? Ellen's gaze softened. We won't lose each other, she said fiercely. No matter what happens, you have me now and we'll find a way forward. Jamie blinked back, tears, torn by fear yet touched by the genuine warmth in her mother's voice. With one final look at the house she'd known, she realized something. This was not just about the physical space, it was the connection that mattered. As they stepped outside, the world around them crackled with tension. Smoke filled the air with a heavy haze, dimming the sunlight that had once felt so warm. Ready? Ellen asked, her hand instinctively reaching for Jamie's. With a deep breath, Jamie nodded, their fingers intertwining. They were both scared, but they were facing it together. They took their first steps forward, leaving behind a past that was filled with pain, but carrying the hope of a new beginning. What awaited them on the road was uncertain, but as Jamie glanced sideways at her mother, she felt a flicker of possibility. Would this path lead to healing or only deeper struggles? One thing was sure, they were going to face it side by side. With every stride, life hung in the balance, but Jamie felt a new understanding of family starting to take root. Would their bond survive the challenges ahead? The air outside was thick with smoke, a lingering reminder of the chaos invading their lives. Sirens wailed in the distance, voices echoing in the frantic rush of the rushing crowd. Jamie's heart felt as though it would explode, pumping in rhythm with the panic that was taking hold of everyone around her. It was a cacophony of fear and urgency. Mom, we need to hurry, Jamie urged, glancing toward the neighbor's house where families emerged with hastily packed cars and frantic faces. Each one was a mirror reflecting her own turmoil. Ellen tightened her grip on Jamie's hand, as if anchoring herself to the moment. Let us find Noah first, she said, her voice steady. We can do this. They rushed back into the house and Jamie's mind raced. How could life change so quickly? Just yesterday, she'd been rearranging furniture and planning simple meals. Now they were running from a wildfire, something out of a nightmare, not her reality. Where's his book? Jamie muttered, rummaging through a pile of toys. She felt the cold dread settling in her stomach like a stone. He has to have it. Look here. Ellen's voice cut through the chaos as she held up the familiar blue cover. Jamie's heart skipped. Noah's beloved stories turned an ordinary day into magic. Thank you, Jamie breathed, taking it from her mother with trembling fingers. Noah appeared in the doorway, wide-eyed and confused, his messy hair sticking up in all directions. Mommy? What is happening? His innocent question shattered Jamie's already fragile resolve. Sweetheart, we're just going on a little trip, she said, forcing a smile that felt so out of place. Grab your bear, okay? Noah rushed off while Jamie sunk to her knees, gathering him in a tight embrace. I love you, buddy. We're going to be okay, she whispered, the words more for herself than him. Ellen stood nearby, watching, and Jamie sensed the shift between them. The tension. The years of silence. At this moment, it felt like a wall was crumbling, revealing something raw and vulnerable locked away inside both of them. As they finished packing the last of Noah's things, Ellen spoke softly, I never wanted to leave you. I thought it was the right decision back then. Jamie felt a pang, the weight of those words weighed heavily on her heart. It felt like you wanted to choose something else over us. Ellen's eyes glistened, her expression a mix of regret and bravery. I lost myself. I see that now. But being here with you, it feels like I'm reclaiming part of what I lost. Their shared pain hung in the air, a fragile thread of connection they both craved. But before Jamie could respond, a crackling noise cut through the moment. The ground trembled slightly, and all three of them instinctively froze. What was that? Noah's small voice trembled, fear creeping into his eyes. I don't know, Jamie replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She could feel the impending doom threatening to engulf them all. The reality of the wildfire was closing in, and time was not on their side. Ellen looked toward the door, then back at Jamie, determination carving her features. We need to move now, before it's too late. Without thinking, Jamie grabbed Noah's small hand and pressed close to Ellen, each step toward the door heavy with uncertainty and fear. They stepped outside and faced the billowing clouds of smoke above them, now creeping closer, the unsettling atmosphere palpable. "Look!" Noah shouted, breaking the tension for a fleeting moment. He pointed toward a figure rushing down the street, waving. "It's Miss Harper." Jamie turned to see their neighbor, an elderly woman with wild white hair, running their way. "Jamie! Ellen!" Miss Harper panted, the worry etched on her face. "You have to get out. Now. They're saying the fire is accelerating." Jamie's heart sank. All her previous fears rushed back with renewed strength. "We're going," she called out, urgency igniting her voice. The world felt shrouded in anxiety and all-consuming flames. Ellen gripped Jamie's shoulder as they started moving, a palpable warmth emanating between them, a flicker of courage, igniting amidst the chaos. For the first time in years, Jamie could sense a shift, a chance to build on that fragile connection. But as they turned to face the unknown ahead, Jamie questioned everything she thought she knew about family, trust, and love. What lay on the road before them, a blend of danger and hope, could change far more than just their circumstances. Would they walk away from the fire with their family intact? Or would the journey ahead demand sacrifices they weren't ready to make? The street was in turmoil, filled with the frantic sounds of engines roaring to life, people shouting warnings, and the crackling of distant flames that sounded too close for comfort. Jamie's heart pounded as she glanced upward, the smoke blotting out the sun, turning the daylight into a surreal twilight. "Mom, where are we going?" Noah asked, tugging at Jamie's hand, his grip slightly shaky. His bear, a scruffy blue creature with one button eye, was tucked under his other arm, offering him an anchor in this storm of uncertainty. Ellen knelt down to Noah's level, forcing a soft smile despite the fear weaving through her own voice. "We are going to the park, sweetheart. It's safe there," she assured him, though Jamie could sense her mother's uncertainty. The park was not just a destination, it was a sanctuary, a childhood memory that whispered of laughter and sunny days. But even that couldn't drown out the ominous roar of the fire approaching. This wasn't just an adventure, it was survival. Will there be other people? Noah's innocent question struck an unexpected chord in Jamie. Would they really find safety among strangers? She felt the tension building in her chest. "Of course, there'll be lots of people," Ellen said, her eyes darting toward the growing haze behind them. "We're all in this together, right?" Jamie admired her mother's attempt to cloak their fear with reassurance, but she couldn't shake the growing sense of dread. They stepped over scattered debris, remnants of lives being abandoned, a red bicycle leaning against a mailbox, a half-disassembled beach umbrella flapping in the wind. Jamie's mind spun with thoughts of what was left behind and what they might never return to. "What if we can't go back, Mom?" Jamie whispered, the words escaping before she could catch them. Ellen paused for a moment, the air heavy with everything unspoken. "We'll figure it out," she replied firmly. "Home is where we are together." Her mom's commitment was like a shield, chasing away some of the darkness that threatened to envelop them. Yet, even with those words, Jamie felt the pull of uncertainty. Could a connection survive in a world reduced to ashes? When they reached the park, its wide-open fields stood in stark contrast to the chaos behind them. Families were already gathering, the air filled with a mixture of concern and a determined spirit of community. Jamie spotted Ms. Harper ahead, helping younger children assemble tents while others exchanged stories. "Mama!" Noah broke free, running toward a familiar face. His laughter pealed through the heavy air, a fragile reminder of innocence amidst the chaos that swirled around them. As Jamie watched Noah, a weight settled heavier on her heart. Could he remain so carefree while the world around him was falling apart? There was a fire not just outside of them, but within Jamie, the desire to protect him at all costs. "Jamie!" Ellen's voice brought her back to the moment. "Help me over here." Together, They quickly set up a small camp area, working seamlessly as if years of distance had melted away into just a single moment at the task ahead. Yet, in that moment of unity, Jamie felt a flicker of something deeper, a yearning for their connection to be more than survival. Just then, a loud bang echoed in the distance, and heads turned toward the direction of the sound. "Look!" a woman shouted, panic lacing her voice, the fire's spreading fast. "We need to evacuate." A wave of fear swept through the crowd, a collective gasp of disbelief. Jamie's heart raced again as chaos began to pulse anew around them. She turned to her mother, eyes wide with urgency. "We need a plan," Jamie said, fighting to keep her voice steady even as the ground felt shaky beneath her. Ellen nodded, the determination returning to her expression. "We'll get everyone organized. We can't lose each other." In that moment, a realization burst forth inside Jamie. If they could navigate this together, despite the fear, they could piece together the fragments of their past. That was stronger than any fire, but just as they began to communicate their next steps, a sudden howl of wind swept through the park, sending a shiver down Jamie's spine. She had a sinking feeling that whatever awaited them beyond this moment would demand more than they were prepared to give. Would they find a way to forge their family anew, or would the flames ahead threaten to consume more than just their home? The wind howled again, an angry reminder of the escalating chaos. Jamie's stomach twisted as families around them scrambled, some clutching children while others grabbed whatever supplies they could carry. The sense of community seemed to fray at the edges, the very bonds that she had hoped would hold strong in such a crisis now threatening to snap. "Okay, listen up," Ellen shouted, her voice cutting through the panic like a knife. Jamie couldn't help but feel a rush of admiration as her mother took charge. "We're going to form a human chain. Everyone needs to stick together. We'll get through this." Jamie watched the crowd, absorbing Ellen's words. It was a rallying cry. Gradually, people began to gather. Hands reached out and joined together, forming a line. Jamie moved closer to her mother and Noah, feeling safer in their presence. She could see other children, like Noah, who still clung to the remnants of their childhood dolls, toy cars, and stuffed animals that seemed nearly out of place amidst the tension. A man nearby began to play music softly on a guitar, a brave attempt to pull joy from the jaws of despair. The notes floated in the air, a desperate measure of defiance against the fire consuming their lives. Jamie, caught in a swirl of emotions, felt tears prick at her eyes. For a moment, it was almost beautiful, people holding on to something they loved, unwilling to let go. Noah, feeling the shift in the mood, squeezed Jamie's hand tighter. "Is it going to be okay, Jamie?" His voice was barely a whisper, filled with the vulnerability of a child thrust into an adult world of uncertainty. She knelt beside him, brushing a loose strand of hair from his forehead. "Yeah, buddy. It is going to be okay. We're together, remember?" She hoped the words resonated with both of them as she fought against her own fear. Just then, a loud crash erupted from the edge of the park. A nearby tree had fallen under the stress of the fire's heat. Gasps erupted in unison, and panic reknit the fabric of the gathered crowd. People darted in all directions, confusion manifesting like a live thing, hungry for the opportunity to fuel their fears. "Stay with me, Noah," Jamie shouted, instinctively pulling him closer. Ellen was nearby, directing people to move toward the exit. Jamie felt torn between her instinct to protect Noah and the urgency of helping her mother. It was a delicate balancing act, and in that moment, she understood the weight her mom carried. Over there, Jamie spotted a young girl crying just a few feet away. With a quick glance at Noah to ensure he was safe, she ran to the girl. "Hey, it's okay. What's wrong?" "I lost my teddy bear," she sniffed, eyes wide and pleading. Jamie hesitated only a moment before she crouched down. "I promise we'll find him. We can do this together, okay? You're not alone." She took the girl by the hand, scanning the chaos for a glimpse of any lost toy. Behind her, Jamie could hear Ellen's voice, still pushing others towards safety. "Keep moving. We'll regroup at the community center." The urgency swelled, a wave crashing against the shore of their fragile hope. As Jamie searched the ground, Her heart raced again, not only for retrieving a stuffed bear but for the realization that they were losing hold of even the simplest joys in the wake of devastation. When she finally found the teddy bear, uplifted from the ground, she felt a small spark of triumph. The girl beamed at her as Jamie handed it over, and at that moment, happiness seeped back into the cracks of anxiety. "Thank you." The girl's smile shone like a beacon. Just then, a voice boomed across the park, urging everyone into motion. "The fire is spreading. We need to leave now." Jamie's heart sank deeper. They were caught in a tempest of uncertainty. Would they really make it to safety? As she turned to find her mother, she caught a glimpse of the smoke curling around the trees, swallowing the sounds of laughter and joy. In a world tinged with fear, how could she navigate a future that felt so clouded? Jamie took a deep breath and steadied herself. She had to let go of her fear and step into the light of hope. It flickered there, just ahead, and she could either chase it or let it dim away, but just before she could take a step forward, another shudder in the ground sent a wave of wild uncertainty through the crowd. What now? As the chaos unfolded around them, Jamie knew this moment was just the beginning. Their survival hinged not just on fleeing, but on their spirits holding together amid the flames. What would she discover in the depths of this looming darkness, and could they rise together, forged anew in the fire's embrace? The air felt thick with tension. Jamie could sense panic rising around her like smoke, suffocating her hopes. She looked down at Noah, who was pale and trembling. "We need to move," she urged, gripping his hand tighter. They started moving with the flow of the crowd, joining the human chain that wound its way toward the park's exit. Ahead, she saw her mother directing people, her voice steady and strong amidst the chaos. Ellen held onto a little boy who looked lost, a mix of determination and compassion etched across her face. Jamie felt a jolt of pride surge within her. Her mother was a true warrior. But the tremors underfoot continued, shaking her resolve. The earth felt alive, as if it mirrored their collective fear. The sound of crackling branches filled the air, mixing with frantic voices shouting for everyone to hurry. Panic-stricken faces flickered as they darted between trees, each step echoing their anxious hearts. "Jamie, what is going on?" Noah's voice tugged at her, laced with fear. "We're just moving to safety, buddy," she said, trying to sound calm, though her own stomach churned with worry. "Remember what Mom said? We stick together." Fear clawed at Jamie as they rounded a bend, revealing a gathering of townsfolk at the edge of the park. Refugees. Some stood with faces masked in shock, while others frantically waved their arms, urging the lost to join them. It was a scene that struck at her heart, dampening the hope she had tried to clutch. A deafening crash interrupted her thoughts, and Jamie's heart raced. A massive branch, unable to withstand the heat, crashed mere feet away from them, sending people screaming, scattering in every direction. She felt a surge of adrenaline as she instinctively grabbed Noah and pulled him close, shielding him with her body. "Stay close," she shouted, her voice a raw mixture of fear and determination. As they navigated through the chaos, Jamie spied a familiar face. It was Rachel, one of her classmates. She looked terrified, clinging to her younger sister, who had tears streaming down her cheeks. "Rachel," Jamie called. "We're headed to the community center. Come with us." With her sister in tow, Rachel sprinted toward them, relief washing over her features. "I thought I was going to lose her," she gasped. Together, they pressed forward, surrounded by the smell of smoke and the sound of distant sirens. The once familiar park felt alien under the threat of flames. The laughter that once danced through the trees was a haunting memory, replaced by the harsh reality of their present. As they neared the exit, a flicker caught Jamie's eye. It was an old swing set, barely visible through the haze, once a place of joy and laughter, now a ghost of their childhood. Memories flooded her mind, the carefree days spent swinging high, dreaming of the future. But what future was left now? "Jamie!" Noah's voice jolted her back. "What is happening? Are we still going to be okay?" She knelt down, catching his anxious gaze. "Noah, listen to me. We can't predict what's next, but I promise we'll find a way through this. We just need to stick together and be brave." Just as she stood to lead them onward, the ground shuddered again. A shadow loomed over them, an approaching fire truck with blaring sirens. Relief washed over her. Help was here. But then Jamie noticed the fear in the eyes of those around her. Would it be enough? Would they truly get to safety? How long do you think it'll take? Rachel asked, her voice trembling. I don't know, Jamie whispered, shielding Noah's eyes from the overwhelming sight. For an aching moment, all hope felt tenuous and fragile. It was as if they stood on the edge of a precipice, teetering. Look. Noah pointed ahead, his eyes widening. Jamie's breath caught in her throat as she saw it, a massive wall of flames licking the sky, the angry orange glow vibrant against the twilight. It was almost beautiful, yet it threatened to swallow them whole. Could they truly outrun it? As the fire approached, Jamie realized they needed to make a choice. Would they stay and hold on to the memories that would soon be scorched? Or would they let go, forging ahead into an unknown path, driven by the instinct to survive? With the flames growing nearer, she shouted, "We can't stop. Follow me." And as they moved, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of their fight, but also the start of something new. What lay beyond this moment of chaos? Could they find strength in the unknown, or would the fire consume the hope that bloomed within them? The heat intensified as they ran, the fire flickering just behind them like a creature hungry for its next meal. Jamie's lungs burned, but she pushed through. Each step was a testament, not just to survival, but to the bonds they fought to keep intact. She could feel the weight of Noah's small hand in her own, the warmth offering a bit of comfort amidst the chaos. Jamie, I can't keep running. Noah gasped, his breath coming in ragged bursts. Just a little further, buddy. Look ahead, she urged, pointing towards a clearing that opened up just past the looming trees. Every ounce of courage she had left transformed into fuel for their sprint. The crowd ahead surged toward the light of safety, like moths drawn to a flame. Faces darted in and out of her view, expressions shifting from panic to determination. Some were lifting children, others dragging the elderly. Every person was trying to outrun the flames, and for those precious moments, this wild, chaotic scene felt like an odd blend of tragedy and hope. As they reached the edge of the clearing, Jamie spotted her mother, still directing traffic, her voice breaking through the cacophony. This way. Everyone, stay together. Ellen's strong presence shone like a beacon. Relief washed over Jamie as she felt their little band tighten together, a makeshift family unit that only grew with each step. Mom, Jamie shouted, finally breaking through to her, bringing Rachel and Noah alongside. Ellen turned, her eyes searching, scanning the small group in an instant. The moment her eyes found Noah, a rush of motherly intensity mingled with relief. Thank you for keeping him safe, she gasped. Then, she pulled them into a fierce embrace, her warmth wrapping around them like a protective shield. Where's Dad? Jamie asked, pulling back slightly, dread settling in her stomach. He's behind us, helping others, Ellen reassured her, though Jamie could hear the tremor in her voice. It set off alarm bells in her head. The frantic cries and sound of crackling branches were still growing closer. But he'll be here soon. We need to keep moving. The group glanced back, realizing the flames were licking faster at the edges of the treetops. Jamie felt Noah shiver against her, and she lowered herself to his level once more. You're doing so great, Noah. We're almost to safety, I promise. But what if Dad doesn't make it? He whispered, fear darkening his innocent eyes. Hey, she said, her heart racing. We can't think like that. He's strong, just like you. We just have to keep going, okay? She ruffled his hair, wishing she had more to give him than words. The community center loomed closer in the distance, its lights flickering like stars against the turmoil. Just then, a roar echoed through the air, followed by a flurry of activity. Jamie's heart sank. Another tree trunk, tired of holding on, crashed across the path just behind them. The crowd gasped, a collective breath caught in their throats. We need to move. It's not safe. A voice shouted from the back of the line. Panic spread like wildfire. With a heavy heart, Jamie realized they couldn't wait. Rachel, we have to go. She grabbed Noah's hand and pulled him toward the community center, the urgency of the moment igniting something primal within her. They darted left toward a narrow path leading around the side of the building. Jamie's heart raced as she risked a glance over her shoulder. The fire was no longer a distant threat. It was alive and hungry, consuming everything in its path. But then, just as they thought they might slip through the jaws of despair, Jamie heard a familiar call. "Jamie! Wait!" It was her father, sprinting into view, face smeared with soot, yet filled with an undeniable spark of determination. Relief flooded her heart, but just as quickly, she saw the rescue workers following him, directing crowds away from the building they had hoped to reach. "No, we can't go that way," one worker yelled, urgency in his voice, pushing people in the opposite direction. In that moment of chaos, Jamie felt her entire world teeter again. Would they have to split up? Would they risk losing each other again? "What do we do now?" Rachel cried, looking between them, her eyes wide with fear. "All of us together," Ellen said firmly, looking between her children and husband, resolve shining through the worry. "We're not leaving anyone behind." But the fire was closing in fast, and time was running out. Jamie clenched her fists and took a breath, the flames growing louder, more demanding. Where could they go now? What choices would they make to stand strong against the storm? With her heart pounding, she made a choice. "Follow me." But with those words spoken, she couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest trial still lay ahead, just beyond the reach of those flames. The narrow path twisted around the community center, shadows stretching and warping as flames flickered ominously behind them. For a moment, there was confusion as people rushed in all directions, but Jamie's voice broke through the chaos. "Come on. This way." She thought of her father's strong presence, hoping he'd find a way to catch up. Noah clung to Jamie's hand, his little fingers trembling, while Rachel kept close, her eyes darting around, searching for the faces she loved. In that moment, they were all each other had. "Jamie!" Ellen called out, her voice rising above the crackling inferno. "Stick together." They nodded, pushing ahead as another crash echoed behind them. A tree now collapsed, leaving a new barricade of danger. Jamie felt the heat wrap around them like a suffocating blanket, the scent of smoke filling her nostrils. It was a reminder of the urgency, the fragility of life. "Is there a way out?" Rachel shouted, her voice panicked, but Jamie wouldn't allow herself to feel the fear fully. It would only weaken their resolve. "There has to be. Just keep moving." As they rounded the corner, Jamie's heart surged with hope when she spotted a small group gathered near a side exit. Her father was among them, still shouting for others. Just a few more steps. But the crowd ahead was pressing into them, fighting for that life-saving exit. "Dad!" Jamie yelled, but her voice was lost in the thrumming chaos. Then came a piercing scream. A woman had fallen to the ground, her arm ablaze, and instinct kicked in. Jamie turned, her heart racing as she pulled Noah and Rachel toward the chaos. "We have to help." Her mother looked at her, wide-eyed, torn. "We can't. It's too dangerous." But Jamie's feet were already moving. "I can't just leave her." Without thinking, she dashed toward the woman, fueled by adrenaline and fear. She knelt and, though terrified, focused on putting the fire out. A brave man with a fire blanket rushed in, and together, they worked to smother the flames. As the last flicker went dark, the woman gasped, her eyes filled with gratitude and pain. Jamie turned back to check on Noah, who was wide-eyed, taking in the scene. "It's okay," she called, but inwardly, she felt the waves of panic push against her, then another crash, a loud crack of wood splitting. She glared up, her heart sinking, as another tree began to give way, crashing directly into their path. The block felt insurmountable. "No!" her mother shouted, pulling Rachel close. Jamie's breath caught in her throat. There was nowhere left to run. A sea of panic washed over her, and it began to feel all so hopeless. "No, no, no," she whispered, taking a deep breath, feeling her heart race harder. They couldn't stop, they couldn't give in. Just beyond lay safety. She had to believe it. "Guys!" This way, Ellen shouted, spotting a door near the exit behind the scaffolding. We need to get through that door. Without waiting for an answer, Jamie grabbed Noah's hand tightly, desperation fueling her push forward. Her mother and Rachel followed closely as they squeezed into a narrow space. They were almost through when Jamie heard a distant roar. Turning quickly, her heart dropped. Dark smoke was billowing closer, folding into the space they'd just vacated. It was advancing like an unwanted shadow, hungry and alive. Run! Ellen shouted. They burst through the door, stumbling into the foyer of the community center. The overwhelming shift from chaos to what felt like temporary safety was profound and startling. But Jamie could feel it, the burden of not knowing where her father was, his absence of physical ache. Dad? She called, breathless, scanning the room filled with frightened faces. Suddenly, Noah's hand slipped from hers, and her heart lurched. In a heartbeat, she turned, but he darted towards another crowd of people, eyes wide, searching. Noah. Panic threatened to close around her. How could they lose each other now? Jamie, wait. Rachel tugged at her sleeve, pulling her back. We'll find him. We have to get everyone safe first. But Jamie felt the grip of fear tightening. They were running out of time. Hadn't they fought hard enough already? And now, they might lose the most important part of their family? In that critical moment, she realized something. It wasn't just about running anymore. It was about holding on to what mattered most. As they regrouped, she felt a surge of determination. Okay, she breathed, taking a step back towards the crowd of people. Together. We find him together. But just as they steeled themselves to move deeper into the dangerous unknown, a resounding crash echoed off the walls, shaking the ground beneath them. Getting out of here isn't the end, it's just the beginning, Jamie murmured, eyes narrowed, heart racing. What awaited them on the other side? The chaos of the wildfire had forced Jamie to confront not only the danger outside, but the lessons burning inside her. As she stood in the foyer, surrounded by the distressed faces of her community, a deep resolve took root within her. She wasn't just a survivor. She was a mother and a daughter, ready to reclaim what had been lost and forge something new from the ashes. Noah, she shouted, her voice slicing through the commotion. She couldn't afford to lose him now. Ellen grasped her arm. We'll find him. Together. Rachel nodded, determination replacing her initial panic. Let us split up and call his name. He couldn't have gone far. The trio moved swiftly through the throngs of frightened individuals, eyes scanning every cluster of faces, hearts pounding in time with the chaos surrounding them. Jamie felt a fierce protectiveness for her son overshadowing the remnants of fear that still clung to her. Noah, Jamie shouted again, voice wavering but fierce. A silence fell for just a moment amid the cries and whispered prayers. And then, from a distance, she heard a faint, small voice, trembling yet alive. Mommy? Her heart stopped. Jamie wheeled around and spotted Noah's head peeking out from behind a table filled with supplies. Relief rushed through her like a wildfire of warmth. There you are. She dashed to him, gathering him in her arms, clutching tight as if he was all that mattered in the world. I was scared, Mommy, he whispered, burying his face in her shoulder, fingers dragging a bit of comfort from her shirt. I know, buddy. I'm here. You're safe, Jamie replied, tears of relief punctuating her words. Ellen rushed over, kneeling alongside them. And guess what? You were so brave. We're all together now. Noah's face brightened at his grandmother's words, collecting strength from their collective hugs. As Jamie looked around, she saw the faces of her neighbors, those struggling, those holding on, those willing to stand strong together. The terrible weight of loss transformed into something boundless. They had each other. Suddenly, a loud crash rang out, a reminder of the danger still lurking beyond the walls. The fire raged on, consuming everything in its path. We have to get everyone organized, Ellen exclaimed, her voice ringing with purpose. Jamie felt a rush of gratitude for her mother. They had been estranged for years, yet here they stood, unified in this moment. Together, they were more than just family. They were warriors against the flames, ignited by renewed hope. We can help, Rachel chimed in. We need to make sure everyone has a place to go. Flashes of fear faded as Jamie spoke. Okay, then let us do this. Everyone counts, and we can guide them. They sprang into action, forming a plan to lead fellow evacuees to safety. Tapping into their strengths, the collective will of a small community united against an overwhelming force, they amplified their efforts. Jamie felt a strength rising stronger than fire, fueled by purpose and connection. With urgency and intention, they helped direct families toward the exits, checking on those in distress, offering words of encouragement when hope flickered low. Jamie found herself even smiling despite the chaos. Laughter bubbled up when she saw Noah hand his beloved bear to a little girl with tears in her eyes, a reminder of comfort amidst uncertainty. As they worked, Ellen caught Jamie's eye, and in that single moment, both women understood. They were not only fighting the flames, they were stoking the fires of family, rekindling trust, compassion, and love, transforming ashes into a light leading the way. Everyone is getting outside. We're doing it. Rachel beamed with excitement as they saw families rallying together, moving swiftly. With every heartbeat, the fire still loomed close, but Jamie felt empowered. Home might have been changed, but family lay not in physical structures, but within the hearts that beat for one another, her mother, her child, and friends bound together. Let us get out, Jamie called, rallying the last stragglers. As they finally stepped into the open air, the fresh breeze was a stark contrast to the choking smoke inside. United, they issued forth from the community center, into the world where uncertainty still hung like a cloud, but hope blazed just as fiercely. In that moment, Jamie realized a truth: she could rebuild, and they could rise from the flames together. The wildfire might consume the past, but the path forward was lit by love, resilience, and the shared strength of a family rekindled. With a deep breath, Jamie held Noah close as they stepped into a new dawn, ready to face whatever came next. This time, no walls would divide them. They would navigate life, come what may. And together, they would find their way home. Now, here's the powerful message you've been waiting for. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you don't miss more exclusive stories that uplift and inspire. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm with positivity, and comment below your feelings on this transformative journey. We want to hear your thoughts. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this courageous transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting our channel through these actions.